Hello, traders. Good turnaround Tuesday to everybody. As far as reversals are concerned, dollar's trying to give back some of its gains. I want to start off with gold because we've had one attempt to break out over this triangle line here, tried it again here, and again in here. What I'm seeing on a shorter term time frame, you look at a 1 hour, is that I have drive one, I have drive two. We'll see if we get this breakout. It may end up being a false breakout. So we'll see what happens. This is a big area. I identified it last week when I was buying it before we did this. And I feel a little cautious as well. Silver's weak as well, down about 14 cents, but I still think silver looks better um, because of the gold silver ratio, which is probably going to start heading down after this recent bounce. So we'll see. I'm going to give see what gold looks like above one more pop. If it sticks above 33.80, hold longs and then trail your stops. You don't want to see it back under 33 and a half. Okay. Looking at Euro, Euro gave back much more than I thought it would yesterday. I mean, it gave back almost 100% of the gains that we had on Friday, and it's trying to dig in its heels right now. Still think that there's a chance for Euro to head back up, and I would still prefer to see these highs taken out one more time, maybe head up towards uh, 119. 118.30 is the high of the move. So this is what I think is going to happen here. If people say, Dale, how do you know where the stops are? And I say, well, they're where everyone else places their stops. So if you're short the euro, where's your stop? Over the high of the move, which has had reinforcement since this is all the way back to the 1st of July, which means we've almost had 2 months of sideways action. We had another rally attempt to take out the 830 high. It failed. So I'd say there's even more stops above here uh, after this than there was after this. And then we recently had this high, which even failed to take out this high. So, there's a ton of stops above here and above here. And I'd like to see a stop hunt up here around this 117.80, 1790. Still, the levels I was looking for yesterday that I didn't get with the sell off, but trying to be patient, thinking I'm going to have that chance to get it. Moving down to the yen. The yen is, acting pretty tough. But when I look at it on a 4 hour chart, still looks like this could be a flag, right? This flagpole, the yen recovered probably the least. Maybe Canada would be a close second, but the yen recovered the least. And to me, it looks like we're still going to see a 45 handle. Right now, this line's coming in on about 45.70. I'm still waiting for that. Right now, I have stops over 48.50, the highs that we had last week. Canada, I think that this is a flag. Even if we break, I think we could see 37.50 and maybe 36.50. So we'll see uh, how that plays out. Uh, Dixie, I got short yesterday. If you saw the post in the room up around here, still think there could be a test of this line down here, which is going to be pretty close to, gosh, I think, yeah, the 97.10 level. So that's 97.12. That's 100, about 100 pips from here, which would take us to, 1750 again or so in the euro. And I'm really going to be keying my dollar trades, my euro trades off when the yen gets down towards these levels, which will happen with a weaker dollar, should this happen, when it happens. Once we start getting down here, I'll be looking for sales in the euro and longs in the dollar. So keep the yen in mind when you're looking at everything here. And that's how I'm going to be playing the dollar and some individual currencies in between. Let's see what gold does for maybe a third drive up here on the 1 hour. Looks like it's going to try it. But let's see, once we do it again, if it's going to be a 3 drive to a top and we start to fail, or we're going to stick it over the breakout, which, is going to come in. We're right in the middle of it. So there's nothing clean about it. Maybe it's a bull flag. Maybe it's a third drive, but I would expect it to at least try it, especially if I'm right about 100-point decline coming in the Dixie in the next several days. Also, something to keep in mind is that the big moves and the inflection point type moves and reversal type moves that are going to be meaningful, as my belief that they don't happen until September. So wherever the markets are, when the big money comes back, if they want to short something, they'll engineer a rally so they could distribute. And if they want to buy something, they'll engineer a decline so they could accumulate. So September is really going to be the month for seeing what happens with the dollar, what happens with metals, and what happens again with the S&Ps. So let's get to risk right now. So when I came in, my plan was to sell it at 65.20. That hasn't happened. The S&Ps have given up, just like a lot of other markets, part of Friday's advance, but not all of it. Okay, so are we going to make a new high over 480? I think that's possible, that we'll go towards that 520 level. And the reason I'm waiting for it is that it will give me a third drive to a top formation. Here's one. Nice sell off. I even put up the daily. Okay. So here's one. We had a nice sell off. We were confirming, but barely. And here's two, where we had that pullback last week, and the RSI was 64. And right now, the RSI is under 60. So say we rally 80 handles, I don't think it's going to take it above 70. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for. Let's take a look and see what the mags are doing. Okay. I would say, you may want to start being a little careful about what you're doing here in some of the minors. Okay. They're all diverging on multiple time frames. So just be careful with that. The semis, tomorrow's a big day for NVIDIA. So we're up a little bit here. I was looking at Meta, most of these charts, and let's look at dailies, because I'm not going to talk about anything particular, but look at Amazon. All right, so we had the gap, it filled the gap, and looks like, it could roll over. And if you notice, NASDAQ isn't even close to new highs. Here's Apple, which has been pretty strong lately. It's got to hold 220. That was the breakout. So under 220, that's a failure. Here's Meta. Meta at new highs did not confirm, and this is a daily. It didn't on the 4 hour either. Goog is still acting okay, but look at it on the weekly and tell me what you see. Yeah, I could count to three too. 1, 2, 3 doesn't mean it's going to stop here, but we have the makings of the Mag 7 making new all-time highs, and at the same time setting up a third drive. Here's Netflix, which has been under pressure for a while. It's not news. Maybe it's got a new high in it. Microsoft has been kind of dead in the water, but it did have that confirmed high. Here's NVIDIA. NVIDIA diverged on the weekly, so I'm still looking to do something on the short side, have some puts in NVIDIA, and I'm going to wait for earnings to see if they um, give us some good earnings, maybe try and make a new high. So I might be looking to fade that. If the earnings are Wednesday afternoon, maybe see where it comes in Thursday morning. Um, Uber's another three driver. We could have another push up for a three here. And we haven't made new all-time highs yet. We're getting close, but this is not a chart where I would be putting fresh money to work. Maybe at 80, but not up here. Palantir is having a hard time recovering. I'd sell a fib retrace in Palantir. See what else we want to talk about here. Just a quick update on grains. And I bring up grains. You could, some of the best traders that came out of the 70s were grain traders, right? So, we had Peter Brandt, who was a floor trader at the Chicago Board of Trade. Someone asked me, why do I pay attention to the grains? And they're very good technical markets. Um, corn looks to a bottom, wheat looks like it's bottom, beans look like they bottomed. So, just in terms of inflation, when you look at these grains, they've all been decimated from the invasion of Ukraine. Here's beans, they were $15. Here's wheat, it was, where was it? $13. So it's really gotten killed. And here's corn, it was $8, so cut in half. So if we're already having inflation problems now, with the grain markets calm, what's going to happen if we have a bull run in grains? Just something else for you to consider when you're thinking about inflation, the CRB. I just interviewed a guy who said that we're almost through completing wave two in the CRB, which can which will lead to a wave three. So let's see what else. Bitcoin, pretty ugly week. It's got 3 days left, but not the best looking week, not the best looking day. It's trying to diverge here, but this has really been the weak sister on the board. I showed you how the euro almost gave it all up, but at least the euro held these lows. Bitcoin has taken them out. I've heard 103, 104 bandied about or a possible support level in Bitcoin. To me, just right now, I don't feel like I have to be in a hurry to buy it, especially having that false breakout over 118. And I think that's going to be a wrap. Be careful with your minor positions. And okay, the euro is starting to pop again. Dixie coming off, so I think that's. I think I may have this cased, and let's see if I get the break in U.S. dollar yen. See what the yields are doing. Here's a 10-year. Still looks like negative to me against this 435 level, and I do think that we're going to take out these lows. TLT's acting really crummy. So even with the talk of lower rates, here's Friday. Okay, so here's another market that gave up all of Friday's gains. So the markets that gave up Friday are your preferred shorts. The markets that held the most of Friday's gains are your preferred longs. So there's your demonstration in relative strength. Go through your charts, look at what happened Friday, and now we've had almost 2 days of action. And the instruments that are holding most of Friday's gains on the Jackson Hole speech are things that you could be looking to buy on dips. And instruments that have taken out the lows from Friday are instruments that you should be looking for selling rallies in. So that's those are my calls here. Looks like gold. Gold's going to be interesting in the next couple days. So if gold ever had a chance, it's got to happen with the dollar pulling back, I think, to 96.70 on this contract, and see what the euro could do if we rally another 150 pips just to take out these highs one more time. And it should get a lift from a weaker yen if we get it. So I also want to see where gold is when the end's down here at 45 and a half. So that's the way I'm looking at the markets today. Keep in mind, it is um, everyone's still enjoying their last week away, and we'll have different markets next week with everyone adding their dollars to the liquidity pile. So remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Maybe play this again so that you know the areas, so when they get there, you can execute rather than impulsively trading on the fly.